Wealth, security, and opportunity are a byproduct of success. However, it often comes at the expense of deep personal satisfaction and happiness. This is the Design Your Destiny podcast, and I am your host, Penny Chason, board-certified hypnotist and #1 international best-selling author. I work with the highly successful influencers, business leaders, corporate leaders who desire a life by design. In this podcast, I will bring to you succinct solo episodes and interviews that dissect the challenges of success and highlights the ways to leverage your most underutilized asset, your subconscious mind. If you desire peace and happiness in your life, better health, and stronger relationships so you can enjoy the success that you have created, keep listening because this podcast is for you. I wanted to share with you the top 5 practices that I do that allow me to be at peace, to be content, and to not have swings of emotion that I have to push through or feel like I'm wading through to get into my day. If you're new to the podcast, my name is Penny. I'm a retired, not really, I'm a former nurse anesthetist. I walked away from that career. Former nurse anesthetist, board certified hypnotist. I've been working with the subconscious mind since 2013, but the last 3.5 years, I've specifically worked with people who are entrepreneurs or are on a significant personal self-development journey, who really just want to overhaul their entire life. What makes that important to you is that I'm not helping people with simple habits like, the stop smoking, the stop drinking. I work with people who want to overhaul their life. So you hear a lot of hypnotists, they talk about one session, a single session, they can help get rid of this, help get rid of that. I help people go much deeper. I help people work with their identity and to align that identity to their purpose, to align that identity to their soul. And this is important when you are in business. It allows you to accomplish so much more. So let me share with you what it is that I do. This is going to be a super fast episode, and feel free to let me know via Instagram, hit reply on the email, or comment below the video on YouTube, wherever it is. Comment your questions. I love to know what you find interesting. And then that way, if it aligns with what it is I'm bringing into the world, love to touch on that topic for you. So the 5 things that I do. Number 1, first thing when I wake up in the morning is I go into gratitude. I have a gratitude practice. I'll do it mentally. Some days I like to get up and have my cup of coffee and I journal my gratitude. I write those things down. But it's important to shift that state of mind right away. Gratitude is the energy and the frequency of our soul. Gratitude and joy, right? It's the energy and frequency of our soul. It's the energy and frequency of creation. So that way we're moving into our day in that positive mental state. Now, if you wake up and you're really feeling, down, low, frustrated, don't use the gratitude as a way to bypass. Use the gratitude to shift your mood, and then whatever other practices it is that you use to address your emotions, reflect and do what you need to do to shift that. I do not believe in gratitude or spiritual bypassing. Number 2, I set my intention every single day. I sit down and I write my intention in my journal, or I mentally set my intention. And these days, my intention has gotten much simpler. I've started time blocking. My calendar looks very different than it used to be for me personally. My assistant may not think so, but things mean something to me. And so time blocking is something that I do. And when I go into that time block, I know what needs to be accomplished in that time block. The third thing that I do is I practice a form of self-hypnosis that is a unique clearing self-hypnosis. So if you go onto YouTube and you're searching for a clearing self-hypnosis or a clearing hypnosis audio, you're not going to find anything that compares to this, because this isn't uh, an audio that I listen to. It is an internal practice. So it makes it very different. And I've been doing this practice long enough that not only does it clear things out when they come up, I'm pretty much been at a maintenance phase for a while, but I will just get lots of insight and intuition and energies coming through when I do that practice. Okay, so that was 3. Number 4 is that I make a conscious effort to not be attached. So what do I mean by that? If I have sales calls on my calendar, I do not get attached to the outcome of that call. I approach that call just from a place of service, and then that call ends however it ends. How that call ends means absolutely nothing about my self-worth. It means absolutely nothing about the value I'm bringing to the world. It means absolutely nothing about the success of my business. However, that being said, I do reflect on those calls and evaluate where I am, because, if things aren't converting, right, then what's happening there, right? Am I not doing something right? Am I not screening potential clients correctly? Did I engage someone in a sales call before they were ready to come to that sales call? Because my sales call conversion runs 70, 80%. I go on stretches where it's 100%, because people are warmed up before we get to those calls. They come to the calls knowing they want to work with me. But I let go of attachment. I don't assume that someone's going to convert, and I don't put my eggs in that basket, if you will. I'm not attached to it. And the 5th thing that I do is silence. I just get my mind into a place of quiet. It took practice, and it took a lot of healing and doing the work to be able to just sit with my mind and not have thoughts come up. I can be completely comfortable sitting in a room full of people and just being in silence within myself, even if no one else is engaging with me. And one of the other things that this practice has done is that I don't enjoy chit chat anymore, like talking just to be talking about people, not necessarily gossiping, but like those things. It's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't appreciate that. So those are the 5 things that I do that help me to stay in this place of peace. It helps me to stay in a place of compassion for other people, because that's super, super important, to be able to observe others and the challenges that they may have, or the behaviors that they may have, or the circumstances they might be in, and to have compassion, and to not mean that necessarily that you accept what they do, because there are some people that do some pretty terrible things in the world. It doesn't mean that you accept their behavior. It just means that you have compassion, because, when we sit and we really think, what kind of an environment did someone have to grow up in? Or, what did they not get that they needed that caused them to end up in this place mentally, emotionally, physically, right? It allows us to have compassion for people. And that's where I do my best to live from, is to have compassion for people, to not judge people. If I ever accomplish the skill of never judging anyone, I'll let you know. That is one of those things that's a lifelong practice. And if you've listened to my podcast for any length of time, you know that I'm a huge fan of The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It is a life changer of a little book. It's $5. It's worth 1,000 times the value. Okay. If rather than just reading the book, you embody the principles in the book. It's a book I often recommend to my clients because it is so simple, yet is so profound. And yeah, so I think it's probably time for me to go back and reread it again. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. I will see you next week. If you're ever interested in connecting with me, knowing what opportunities are available for you to work with me, because my one-on-one work is extremely limited these days, hit the link at the show notes for this episode. We'll have the link for the Aligned and Expanding Mastermind there. That is a hybrid one-on-one and group experience. And then I also do private one-on-one for those of you who want to keep me all to yourselves and not share me with the group. That is available also. So we'll have the links below the show notes. Just fill out the application. We will connect with you, send you the link for a call, and we'll get that set up. And I hope you have a lovely week. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Design Your Destiny. I would love to know what resonated most with you. So just take a screenshot of this episode, share it over on your Instagram stories, and tag me at penny.chason and let me know what you thought. Also, if you head over to iTunes and you leave a positive review, it helps this podcast to help reach even more people, making a difference, elevating humanity and mankind.